this is this is what you retards call the end of snow. Yeah, there's no, your children aren't gonna know what snow is. Do y'all remember David Viner and the end of snow? It seems like the Ring of Fire. Do they call themselves Ring of Fire Radio? I think they used to. You have to actually be on a radio station. The Ritalin is flowing freely over there, but and check the links underneath the video. I don't necessarily have anything on hurricanes and the two things, but you can see how they rely on taxpayer-funded scientists are predicting. They're going to predict it's going to be turbulent because of mankind. And somewhere there's going to be a standard deviation in temperature somewhere at some time in the next 50 years. And you better watch out. What happened, the historical record. What happened between 1650 and 1850? 90% chance. You remember the predictions after Katrina? And then we had that, the longest period without a major landfalling hurricane. And then, of course, some people say, well, that's what we would expect. And, of course, California drought, which is over now. Yeah, California, California has had some droughts in the past. Just because you jump up and down and have an autistic fit doesn't mean California's not doomed because of drought. They're doomed because they're California. But you can see how they, on the one hand, could bring the rain to California, which would be good. And then the Western Pacific countries in danger of being heavily hit by hurricanes. Actually, no. So you got that. And then the Pentagon. The Pentagon. Which is, how many ridiculous wars has the Pentagon started and pushed us towards under false pretenses? But they got it right. Climate change is real. Yeah, climate change has actually happened for a long time. It's actually been pretty prevalent in the historical record. It's going to have to be. Relocated is what Al Gore meant. Al Gore. Yeah, you remember Al Gore got in on the end of snow or he contradicted himself, and that's in one of the pieces I cover. Going to have to be, and then the West Antarctica ice sheet. Oh my gosh, it's going to be gone. Actually, it probably won't be gone. But you can see how they try to drum up hysteria. The Pentagon. We trust the Pentagon when they say what we want them to say. NASA science. Now, this is something that's in my article on Malthusian stupidity. NASA scientists, they predicted mega droughts several times over the last several decades. Didn't pan out, but at least they were smart enough to push it to the end of the century now. We're going to see droughts. We better act now, because in the next 80 years, well, when this article was put out, was excreted, it was 85 years. Well, the next 80 years, it's going to get real bad. Better do something. Because when they predict droughts several decades, mega droughts several decades into the future, well, and then we get to that end, and they're like, oops, I do have something in that. There's a little write-up on droughts. Their prediction. Where was the prediction at? To get steadily warmer, like it did in the medieval warm period when we had mega droughts. And actually, you'll see that mini droughts, like the Dust Bowl of the 30s, are actually quite common in North America's history. But they're not going to. Neither kind of unknown is easy to predict, except when you're predicting disaster and you're a taxpayer-funded scientist. NASA scientists. We've actually seen that several times. No. Their predictions were underestimated. Actually, I remember I've got several sections in there on that. The UN was predicting absolute, complete disaster in 82 and 89. James Hansen's temperature predictions in 1988 were way off. I have a bunch of information on that too. So Yeah, a lot of them were predicting basically what, the end of Bangladesh. That was another one that was going to come around, but didn't. Yeah, whole bunch of Faroe Islands were going to go underwater. Didn't happen. I thought, and then, oh my gosh, is this the first time we've had a massive calving of a glacier or a big chunk of ice down in Antarctica? I thought you guys measured these and autistically repeated how many Manhattans it was. That's what it's supposed to be. It was the size of Singapore. Not the first time that's happened. Yeah, you could. Yeah, Antarctica does tend to. That happens down there. It's happened many times over many thousands of years. Uh, Not exactly big news. However, if you want to spend trillions of dollars to try to fix this with my money, I'm not rich, but I make good money, and you want to steal everybody else's money for it so they don't have any money because you sit around and you're mentally ill like Greta Thunberg, or whatever her name is, autistically rubbing your hands and fretting, and you want to government control the economy and government micromanaging, then yes, this would be something you might cling on to. But if you've actually read some peer-reviewed literature out of Antarctica dealing with paleoclimatology, actually it's kind of happened before. It's not the end of the world. Don't have a little hissy fit. Just take your Ritalin. This is a secondary link right here. This will be the second one. This will deal, yeah, because they're fretting over an ice chunk the size of Singapore. How many Manhattans would that be? Cover a lot of peer-reviewed material in that one. I understand they have to keep it short for the autistics over there with Face Bloat, Seder, and the rest of them. So they keep it short and don't get into any peer-reviewed material. But yeah, I covered. There's a whole bunch of environmental predictions that went completely wrong. That'll be linked in there too. So, but the main thing is I do cover the end of snow. The area of Iowa that I'm in has had 2 measurable snowfalls in October. And November 11th, we got hit good that day, and the reason I remember that is I had to have the igniter on my furnace replaced, and I was pushing a fair amount of snow that day. So, and then we got some recently that you saw out in the cornfield. So, and a lot of that has melted, but as we got above freezing, just any progressives watching, a lot of snow will tend to melt if it gets close to 40 degrees. But yeah, I remember Dr. David Viner, that's one of the main themes of that. The end of snow. Your kids aren't going to know what snow is. And there was several others doing. Al Gore even got in on it, and I've got that in there, and contradicted himself on his blog, which is up no more, but there was an archived version of it. So Al Gore's got a little Jekyll and Hyde psychosis going on whether global warming or climate change or whatever it is, climate disruption. It'll make more snow. It'll make less snow. It'll make snow 1 standard deviation above the average of the last 20 years. It'll make snow 1 standard deviation less than the last 20 years. It'll do this. It'll cause my Ritalin dosage to go up, etc. You know, it's mind-numbingly stupid. So have a nice day, and don't thank me now for the info. So this is this is what you retards call the end of snow. Yeah. Yeah, there's no, your children aren't gonna know what snow is.